Hey guys, what's up? So today is just a quick little deck profile video, I guess. Not really sure if I would call this an actual deck profile, but I'm just basically going to skim through the cards of all the decks that were used in the OTK slash alternate win condition video, and basically just explain how each deck wins, if that makes any sense. Like explain the win condition, how to achieve the win condition, and as for the cards themselves, I'll just do what I did right there and just skim through them. So if you guys want to pause it at any point because you don't know what a card is or whatever, just feel free to do that. First up, we have the Blaze Fennec OTK, and also these aren't going to be in the same order. They're going to be in alphabetical order here. In the video, they were in, alternate win, OTK, alternate win, OTK, and they just went back and forth. Anyway, first up, we have Blaze Fennec. Blaze Fennec is right here. As you can see, once per turn during your main phase, you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each card on the field. Basically, what you do is you need Fusion Gate and Chain Material into the field, and this will be not really a common theme. I think only one other deck uses it, but this is just like a loop, because you need, if you have Fusion Gate and Chain Material and Electrum, you basically just loop whatever you want infinitely, but we'll talk about that later. So all you really need are Machine and Pyro. Yeah, one Machine type, one Pyro type, and you have machines with card D. You have machines with card D, Swift Scarecrow, Cyber Valley, and then for Pyros you have Volcanic Shell and Blaze Fennec itself. And this is a machine, okay. Ignition Beast Volcanon is just kind of there for, why not. I used it in the video because I don't really know why I didn't need it. But yeah, it's very simple. Just loop everything. You have Fusion Gate, activate Chain Material. You can and what Chain Material does, as you can see right there, whenever you fusion summon, you can do it from your field, deck, hand, or graveyard. So as long as the cards aren't banished, you can fuse with them. So you'll fusion summon Blaze Fennec, burn for however much. Fusion summon another Blaze Fennec, burn for however much. Fusion summon for another Blaze Fennec, burn for however much. And if you didn't have game there, like if there weren't enough cards on board to do 8,000 points of damage or however much, just recycle everything with Electrum. That's why the heroes are here. Next up, we have Cannon Soldier FTK or OTK. I don't really think this can be an FTK, or at least not to my knowledge. Anyway, basically the star players are Toon Cannon Soldier, which once I'm done once I'm done skimming through, I'll get to it. But yeah, the stars are Toon Cannon Soldier and Quillbolt Hedgehog. These two guys right here. Toon Cannon Soldier, just you contribute one monster on your side of the field to inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. Quillbolt Hedgehog is able to special summon himself from the graveyard as long as you have a tuner on board, and it can special summon itself as many times as possible. Like, it's not restricted to once per turn or anything like that. The only thing is that when it leaves the field after a special summon this way, it gets banished, and you kind of remedy that with two different strategies. First being Imperial Iron Wall, which is how I won in the video. The other is you could just overlay. If you have two of these guys in your graveyard, a tuner on the field, in this case is Quick Draw Synchron, you would summon out two of them, overlay, burn for 500, and just watch, rinse, and repeat. Simple as that. So it is tedious, and once you get it going, if your opponent has no answer to it, it is game over. But it's a interesting one, I guess. Next up, we have Electrum. Very, very similar build to the and sorry about blowing to the mic, but very similar build to the Blaze Fennec OTK, because it is, again, kind of the same idea. You use Fusion Gate and Chain Material to summon an Electrum, which will cycle its cards. You'll summon out another Electrum, which will recycle the heroes again. You'll overlay the two into Gustav Max, burn for 2,000, and just kind of loop your way back to having Electrums in the extra deck, having Gustav Max in the extra deck, and it's just a lot of looping going on. And it's just like, these two cards are really stupid. Like, it's just they're annoying. Like, if you get it off, it's not consistent by any means, and the deck itself isn't that bad. But when I said it's not consistent, I mean like this two card combo for like any deck. Like, it's not as consistent as it needs to be anything relevant, but when you get it off, it's just annoying. Next up, Herald of Destiny, or really it's Herald of Glorious Light. Is that what it's called? Herald of Rainbow Light, I don't know. But anyway, this deck isn't necessarily mine. Like, the idea to throw, well, actually no. The idea of throwing the Destiny board, I just got the idea from a podcast, I guess, or a live stream. Some people were talking about it, like, oh, well, one person was saying like, oh, I can throw this card into my Destiny board deck, and I was like, that's actually a pretty good idea. Let me try and work on because when I first heard that, I was actually already working on this video of alt wins and OTKs. I was like, oh well, I could probably work that in. And then I came across a video by a YouTuber or YouTuber, or whatever you want to call him, Lithium 2300 2300, you know, whatever you want to say. And he made a, you know, Herald of Glorious Light deck. It was actually pretty interesting. It actually seemed to do the job. And so I just, you know, took that idea. I dropped 5 cards for the Destiny board and Spirit Messages, and well, I mean, you guys saw it. Like, it actually worked. I mean, I don't recommend playing this deck just because it's like I got very lucky, put it that way. Like, I had the perfect hand. Like, I was able to summon out Hail the Glorious Light, have 1 or 2 negations ready, and I also opened up, I think I opened up Destiny board and Sanctum. So yeah, I just opened up really well, and I you don't expect to open up like that is what I'm trying to say. I got really lucky. Next up we have Herakti. Now this deck is actually not that bad. I'll say that I've played Herakti about 20 to 25 duels, and I've gotten her out like 5. And out of the other duels, I actually managed to win maybe like 1 or 2 just because of, you know, Dark World things and playing like a Dark World deck. And I don't know why this is down here. But yeah, and also look at this extra deck. It is something else. But yeah, basically what you do is you fill up your graveyard with Slifer, Obelisk, and really any 3 Dark World cards, or so Scarecrow. You use Grapha and Malefic Stardust to turbo, you know, with Trade-In and Advanced Draw. So use these 2 and these 2 cards to kind of turbo into your Ra, your Creator God Herakti, and Soul Charge. And basically all you really need is, and I know this is going to sound like a lot, and I'm saying it's all you really need, but all you need is 3 monsters in your graveyard, Obelisk and Slifer in your graveyard, so on top of the 3 monsters already in your graveyard. Ra in hand, Herakti in hand, and Soul Charge in hand. And you can't use your normal summon for that turn. So basically you have an empty field. I mean, you could already have a monster on the field. It doesn't have to be empty, but let's say for all intents and purposes, you have an empty field. You haven't used your normal summon this turn. You Soul Charge, and you also need 5,000, or you also need more than 5,000 life points. You Soul Charge to summon out, let's just say, 2 Brow and Beige. You summon out Slifer and Obelisk as well. You tribute the Dark World monsters you summon for Ra, and then you special summon you tribute/special summon, or you special summon this card by tributing the 3 God cards, and then there's your win. It's not as hard as it sounds. Like, once you get used to like how the draw engine works, it's not that bad. And the reason I chose Dark World is just because I wanted a deck, or I wanted an engine that reliably like put stuff into the graveyard, and I didn't want like like an Exodia skeleton, if that makes any sense. Like, I didn't want a like Royal Magical Library to turbo into like hand destructions and Dark World dealings, and that's how you would dump this. I want it to be somewhat original and a deck that could somewhat stand on its own if this didn't work out. And yeah, I came up with Dark Worlds. So yeah. Next up we have Jackpot 7. I used this deck earlier. It's a Jackpot 7 Gusto deck. I like to think of it as my deck because I have seen Jackpot 7, you know, played within other decks, or like decks built around Jackpot 7, and I actually think this deck isn't that bad. Like, you make your opponent worry about its freeze because that's what Gustos are really, you know, built to do, and then you kind of hit them with the Dark Scorpion Burglar. You give it to them with She and Spy, and then you just start running into it, things like Goldo, Eagle, and Kamoi, and it's like, oh well, that's nice. So it is very simple. Like, once you learn the basic Gusto, like the recruiter loop, you learn how to like make sure that you end on a Goldo, or make sure that you end on whatever you want. And once that happens, like once you have Shien Spy, once you have Dark Scorpion Burglar, it's not really that hard to end on a Goldo. And once that's, you know, once that happens, it's basically game over unless they have like something to stop Goldo, or you know, whatever. I mean, it's not game over by any means, but like, let's just say like your opponent has an empty board, or they don't have any spell or traps. They just have like big monsters on the field. If you end on a Goldo and you have these 2 cards in your hand, you know, it's game over because they can't really do anything about that at that point. Next up we have Reversal Quiz OTK. This again isn't my build. This is again was found on Lithium 2300's channel. This I know for a fact, like, he just did a deck profile of someone else's deck, someone else's build, so this isn't his build. And the other build, the Herald of Glorious Light or whatever it's called, I'm not sure it was his, but it was on his channel, so that's where I found it. And yeah, I found this. It topped some regional, I think, in like Belgium or something like that. And the basic idea of this deck is to get your life points down to 700 or less. And yes, that's your life points down, not your opponent's, yours, because it'll, you know, come into play later. Basically, again, you get your life points down to 700 or less. You stack your deck. You put one card on top of the deck. You have to know what's going to be on top of your deck, and you do the easiest way to do that is with this card, a Feather of the Phoenix. So you'll discard something to place. In the video, I put Swift Scarecrow on top. Once that's the case, you need to have Fuma Shuriken set on your field somewhere and a reversal quiz ready to be activated. You activate Reversal Quiz. You call Monster in this case because I put Swift Scarecrow on top. Once you activate this, all of the cards in your hand and field will be sent to the graveyard. So let's say you have, well, let's just say you have Fuma Shuriken set, because that's obviously what you need. So you activate this card, Fuma Shuriken, the set Fuma Shuriken will be sent from your field to the graveyard. And then if you call it right, because again you just set the monster, you set whatever card you wanted on top, you and your opponent will switch life points. So you had 700 or less, because again that was the whole point of the deck. So you switch life points with your opponent, so your opponent now has 700 or less. And you just sent Fuma Shuriken was just sent from the field to the graveyard, so you deal 700 points of damage to your opponent. So I know that's not exactly the best way to describe it. I'm just kind of rambling as usual. But if you saw the video, it's kind of easy to see. It's just a bunch of stall. You're supposed to take damage. You're supposed to get your life points really low. You set this card. You use something like this to make sure you know what is on the very top of your deck, and then you activate this card. Your opponent loses, basically. It's simple as that. Last up, we have Venomanaga. This deck actually wasn't that bad. It went through a lot of changes because I didn't really know how to get it to work, but then I went online and I found someone using Limit Reverse, and I was like, wow, that's actually a really simple idea, really good idea, because it makes everything so much simpler. I was trying to get this guy on board while I had this and this, so I can summon out Venomanaga, and then hopefully I would have a graveyard full enough to actually get her strong enough to survive attacks from 101 and stuff like that. When all you guys really need if you want to try this is Limit Reverse, end phase Limit Reverse to bring back Phenomenon, turn to defense, then activate this card, and there you go. And I know that's kind of the same idea as oh well, you need to have this card, and this card, which is what my original idea was, but it's a lot simpler because now you can actually afford to put Phenomenon in the graveyard with things like Trade-In, so it actually helps you turbo into cards like Rise of Snake Deity and Limit Reverse. And then once this is in your graveyard and you have Rise of Snake Deity ready, just set Limit Reverse, set Rise of Snake Deity, hope your opponent doesn't blind space something or something stupid like that. Bring back Phenomenon during your opponent's end phase. During your main phase, switch to defense. It'll destroy itself because of Limit Reverse. Then you activate Rise of Snake Deity, and there you go. There's Venomanaga. It's okay. This, I don't know if I made it sound hard for you guys. I don't know if I made it sound easy. It's difficult. The Worm engine is here just because it's a decent reptile engine. Why not? And yeah, I guess that's really it. I don't know, I wanted to make this video just to kind of put it out for you guys in case you were interested in trying out any of the alt wins or OTKs, but I also just kind of want to get this out of the way to clear up my deck space, because I don't know, I don't like having these many decks, and by doing this I can get rid of 8. So I don't know, but yeah, hopefully you guys found at least one of the decks interesting, and if you want to see these decks in action, I'll leave a link in the description to the video, because I think that will interest you more than me just talking over it. Because again, this video is just to introduce you guys to the cards being used and the deck builds themselves. So it wasn't really meant to be anything eye-opening and awe-inspiring or anything like that. So yeah, simple video, simple premise, simple idea. I don't know. It's over now, and I think that's how I'm gonna end everything, by just saying it's over now, because that tells me that it's over and I should stop talking. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Later, guys.